get going. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Phil on the Mic podcast. I'm Darren Michael, as always, and joined with me is Mr. Phil Calise. Phil, really, really exciting today.
Absolutely. Special show today, special guest, and I'll let you do the intros, but really, really excited to have this guest on with us.
Yeah. Oh, so great. So here's where it is, and try to control yourself when you hear this long list of accolades. All right. We've got two-time winner of Miss Basketball in Illinois, Big East Rookie of the Year, 2,000-point scorer at Rutgers, drafted number 2 overall by the Phoenix Mercury in 2006, two-time WNBA champion, a WNBA Finals MVP, 7-time AllStar, 4-time Turkish League Champion, 2-time Russian National League Champion, Gold Medalist at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, named top 15 WNBA players of all time, and future Basketball Hall of Famer, Cappie Pondexter. Cappie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Now, was that enough? And I know I missed some accolades. What are you thinking when you hear that list of accomplishments?
I mean, it feels good just to know that I was able to accomplish a lot of that stuff. It was a lot of hard work, you know. In my 13 years of playing, I just dedicated myself as fully as I could to the craft because I really loved it. I loved every moment of it. And now that I'm retired, I look back on it and I'm like, wow, I really accomplished a lot.
I hear it and I think to myself, how many lifetimes does a person have to live to get through and accomplish all that? And I don't think you're 40 yet and did all that. So that's amazing. Really, really incredible accomplishment. So
it's really fun to hear. So you were born in California, but you grew up in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
When is it that you kind of developed your love for the game of basketball?
I would say I developed my love for the game of basketball at the age of 10 years old.
Okay.
Right around the time I moved to Chicago, my brother was he was heavily involved in the sport more than I was. And I was around him a lot because he had to babysit me. So my dad was stationed and my mom was taking care of me and my brother. So the sport just kind of came into my hands and I just took advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when did you realize, hey, wait a second, I'm really good?
About the age of 10, my brother would always say, like, Cappie, you're really good. And I honestly, I dribbled the basketball. I shot the basketball just to hear compliments from him. It wasn't because of anything else. It was just to hear compliments from my brother because he was so in awe of my skill level. And I love my brother so much. And, to this day, we always talk about like, who's the best basketball player in the family.
So I always hear about, and when especially with like women athletes that have excelled to the highest level, that a lot of the skills were honed like playing against the boys at a young age, and seeing that you could even compete at that high level, and then you knew like you're like way ahead of the game. Did you have experiences like that growing up in Chicago, where you're playing pickup games, like mixed pickup games, and all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I grew up playing small fry, which was a mixed gender league. And I think the rims were like 8 feet and you couldn't be over 5'1". Okay. I started playing in that. And then after I measured out of that, I started playing in the YMCA leagues. And that's where it all really began for me. Playing in the YMCA leagues, playing against guys, Quentin Richardson, Shannon Brown, Dee Brown, Sean Marion, just to name a few. I grew up playing with those guys. Yeah, I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for them, for sure.
That's incredible. That's incredible that you got that ability. So you're playing in the YMCA leagues. You're doing really well. Obviously, you're playing against these great competitors. You get to high school, and were you just a varsity player right away?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to play varsity right away.
Nice. And I know you. So you're playing, and here it comes your junior season. You're going into there, and I mean, were the expectations high for you? Did you think that you were going to come out of there and be recognized as the best basketball player in the state of Illinois?
The expectations were really high because we had just came off a state championship.
Okay.
And our best senior had just left. So it was just me. And I was a junior, and I was one of the only upperclassmen there that had that experience. So it was a lot on my shoulders. And to be recognized as, Miss Illinois basketball, it was a huge accomplishment. It was something that I wasn't expecting at all. And when I got the accomplishment, I was very thrilled, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens? You just kind of get a call. Hey, by the way, you were just named. I mean, was it like a big event where the finalists get together and you have like an event and you go there and they call your name? I mean, how did you find out about that?
Well, I had found out previously prior to the event, but it was actually a big event being held in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
Capital, where they host the state championship games.
Okay.
So they told me that I had won the Miss Illinois Miss Basketball, me and Darius Miles.
Okay.
During that time, and then they announced us at a big event, and we celebrated.
That's so incredible.
That's incredible. That's incredible to hear about that. I always find it interesting, and I think our audience will find it interesting. Walk us through a little bit of like the recruiting process when you're thinking about what schools you're going to go to. Obviously, as a California born, but growing up in Chicago, I jump out and I think like, where did Rutgers come from, right? I know Rutgers at the time was an emerging, or was like a really good program with Vivian Stringer there. And so they were more of a nationally recognized program at that point. Probably prior, that was not a destination for, women's basketball players. But just walk us through a little bit of the recruiting process. What were you down to, and what ultimately made you select Rutgers?
All right. Well, let's just say a lot of people didn't even understand what Rutgers University was, or even thought. To this day, people think it's Rutgers Park. But I had 5 schools. I had USC, UNLV, Temple, UConn, and Rutgers. Really, ultimately, it was between Temple for Don Staley, who came into my recruiting process later, and UConn and Rutgers. Those were really my 3 schools. The other 2 schools, they were on my list, but more so just the experience more than anything. But my final 2 schools came down to UConn and Rutgers. Gino played a huge part in my recruiting process. I was coached by him doing USA basketball, so I had the opportunity to be around him quite a bit. So I understood him as a coach and him as a person. But I just felt more closely knit to Coach Stringer. And probably because my mom raised me as a single parent for majority of my childhood. And I just felt like going away to college, I just needed a mother figure in my life. And, because they're both exceptional coaches. They're both exceptionally gifted coaches. Obviously, making the decision, it probably turned a lot of heads, but it was the best.
Gino didn't get turned down too often, I'd imagine, back then. Or really during his whole right? I mean, UConn dominated basketball for a long stretch. So I'm sure he wasn't hearing too many no's from the best recruits in the country.
Nah, it's not often that he hears no's. It's not often. Yeah. But he definitely heard no from me. And it wasn't because I thought that Rutgers was better than UConn. I just thought it was a better fit for me off the court. And, I had such a great time at Rutgers University. It's such a prestigious school. And, we were able to win some championships and do some amazing things while I was there. So I got my jersey retired. And,
of course, that was one of the things I had to leave out. Otherwise, I would still be talking about all your accolades. So I had to stop somewhere,
Yeah, they retired my jersey at Rutgers.
Oh,
so
that's wild. That's wild.
What's the and you must have had some wars with UConn during the 4 years you were there, obviously. So I mean, you kind of balanced out the power in the Big East, right? Because it probably was probably UConn, Rutgers, maybe like Notre Dame was pretty good back then. I'm trying to think of like who was good, right? Those were probably the big 3, right, at that time.
Yeah, I would say Villanova was in there. Villanova, Notre Dame, UConn, and Rutgers. Those are the schools that kind of battled it out a lot.
Yeah.
But it was mainly UConn and Rutgers for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely. What's the best memory from a UConn Rutgers game you have?
Oh, I remember going to Stores, Connecticut for the Big East Championship when we won our first Big East Championship against them on their home court. We beat them pretty bad, almost by 30 points.
Wow.
Wow. You know what? I always felt it was unfair from like far away that they were so dominant and got to host the Big East tournament. There's something didn't seem right about that.
It's true. Right?
They had a huge contract where they hosted it for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never felt that was too fair.
It was always great to play in UConn. It was always great to play up there at Stores.
But a good fan base, right? Like a loyal fan base, a loud state like that. That was probably fun though to be in an atmosphere like that.
Oh, they have a great fan base. They have one of the best fan bases in the whole entire world. I can honestly say that, male, female, professional. It's just an incredible crowd, and they're dedicated to their women's basketball program.
Yeah, I could believe it. So take us back to your first game playing for Rutgers. All right, you walk onto the court the first time. You know, you've got, the crowd is there. Everybody's excited about the game. What's going through your mind at that time? Here you are. I mean, listen, you've been playing big time basketball for a long time, but this has got to be just a whole nother level. What are you thinking when you step on the court for the first time?
That I don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
I always get nervous before games.
Okay.
And I was actually a Prop 48 student, so I had to sit out a whole year.
Okay.
Prior to me coming and play my first year. So I was like, I don't want to mess up, and I want to make sure our record is way better than it was the year before, because we were 9-27.
Oh wow.
We end up finishing the year that I played 21-7.
Wow.
So it was one of the biggest turnarounds in NCAA history.
That's incredible. What was that attributed to? What do you think?
Just a lot of hard work we put in the summertime.
Okay.
The freshmen that came in that were a part of my class, we just dedicated ourselves to be better than what we were the previous year, because I still could practice with them. I just wasn't able to play in games.
Gotcha.
And we just rededicated ourselves, and we had one of the biggest turnarounds in NCAA history. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's really exciting. So I could believe that. What was the kind of the basketball education life like? I mean, is that a really tough thing? I mean, neither Phil or I were college athletes. I wish I had the ability to do that. But is it tough to take a full load of classes and do basketball?
Yeah, it can be tough.
Yeah.
It's mentally more than anything. I think it's a mental thing, because like it's all about time management. And once you get the time management down, I think you understand everything else that comes with playing basketball as a student athlete.
Okay.
Because there are moments where you want to hang out with friends or you want to do certain social activities, but you can't, because you got to dedicate yourself to doing your classwork, because basketball takes up so much time, or sports in general take up so much time. But overall, I think it's just understanding your time management. Once you do that, you're good to go. You're solid.
Yeah. And was it difficult adjusting to all the travel? I mean, here you are, you go and you play, in high school where, you go on buses here and there. But now you're basically going all over the place. I mean, is that a difficult adjustment to do that?
My high school was ranked, so we were able to play a lot of teams across the country. So we flew a lot.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so it was a little different for us, so which kind of prepared me for college.
Okay.
But flying all over, it was fun. I love to travel and go to different cities.
Any favorite places that you would go to?
Yeah, Boston College is one of my favorites. I love going to Boston College. Tennessee was always a favorite.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they were another national powerhouse when you were there, right? So that had to be, another electric atmosphere, I'm sure, right? Down there in Knoxville.
Yeah, Knoxville is a whole different environment.
Well, I mean, Pat Summitt was coaching back then, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was the coach. Her and Coach Stringer were really close friends. And so they made sure that we played. All my 4 years, we played against each other.
You did. Wow.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I
So
like.
you really
I like
got
that.
the best experiences around women's basketball. I mean, like you hit all the big spots the 4 years you were there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I know you.
What did it feel
yeah.
like? So I got to ask this: what did it feel like the first time you made the NCAA tournament? Just from selection show to stepping on the court for that first round matchup. Walk us a little bit through that experience.
Well, the university sets up like a little party for us. And then we have like food and drinks, and we're just waiting for the clock to tick down, really.
Yeah.
And once that happens, the selection happens, they select our name, we get excited for just a couple hours, and then all of a sudden the coach is serious again. It's like, all right, it's time to get to work.
Yeah.
And then the games begin, really. It happens so quickly.
Yeah.
That the only time you really have a celebrate, you have time to celebrate the small wins in between. But, if you make it to the Final Four or the Elite Eight, Sweet 16, you kind of celebrate a little bit longer, but not until you win a championship, which I never had the opportunity to do. But, I've heard a lot of great things.
Yeah. Yeah. You did make the Elite Eight one year, though, didn't you?
I did. I made it to the Elite Eight.
Okay. What was that run like? Because that's got to be pretty exciting. I mean, the NCAA basketball in the tournament is always such an exciting time. I mean, were you must have just been on cloud nine. You're just winning games, and you're getting. I mean, Elite Eight. I mean, elite. It says it all right there. I mean, that's all you need to know. I mean, what's that like, winning games and moving on to the next round and the next round? I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, it feels great. Then you run into Tennessee, and it's like,
Yeah. But no, that was the deepest Rutgers had went, right? That was
no. Rutgers went to the finals. They played Tennessee in the finals.
Okay. Before that. So because that was the sustained success under Stringer, right? Like it was just your time, like that. There was like a 6 or 7 year run where Rutgers was really good.
Yeah, Rutgers, prior to me attending, Rutgers was really good. They went to the Final Four, I want to say 2 out of the 4 years prior to me.
Wow.
Sweet 16, Elite 8, all of that. Rutgers is doing really good behind Natasha Pointer. I'm not sure if you remember that group. Tammy Seth Brown, Natasha Pointer.
Yep. There's some good players on that team.
Yeah, they had some really solid players, and they had gained a lot of recognition.
That's nice. So give us a good story about Coach Stringer. I mean, a complete legend. Give us just one something crazy that happened with Coach Stringer.
Man, her story is just incredible. Like, she's the type of coach that likes to practice early in the morning, like 6 in the morning.
Oh, jeez.
Like 6 in the morning for 3 or 4 hours nonstop.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. She's an intense coach, man.
Yeah.
She loves the game so much. Like, you can go to her and study the game with her, like, all the time. And that's one fascinating thing about her, is that, like, no matter what, no matter where you are, like, if you ask to pull up clips or you need to just look at something that happened games before or something, she can pinpoint it. She never forgets it. And I just know that she's like one of the most incredible basketball minds that I've ever been around.
Yeah,
so,
I can see that.
So I know that, oftentimes the experience when you end up getting to ascend to the WNBA sometimes takes different paths for different players. And you had the opportunity to go play overseas. What does the overseas look like? Like how do you feel about going there? Like what was walk us through a little bit of what that experience was like.
Overseas is great. I had the opportunity to play in quite a few places. I played in Turkey for 7 years. I played in Cyprus for 1 year. I played in Australia for 1 year, and I played in Russia for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So I had the opportunity to go to some really incredible places to play basketball. Obviously, like, the game is different. You have to learn the language. There's a language barrier. and the culture is different. And just being away from family, you know, it's tough. It's tough being away from family, but overall, the fact that you have basketball really makes it equal out and pan out equally.
Yeah.
I should say. It makes
That's what's so unique, because you're playing in the WNBA, right? And Darren will kind of set that up. But you're before you get drafted, I just think it's interesting that unlike the men, right, you're doing double duty, right, throughout your career.
So you play in the WNBA throughout the summer, and then once the WNBA ends, you go straight to Europe and play for 7 to 8 months.
Oh wow! So
that's I mean, that's like the men complain about things. You guys are going hard for damn
basically
near the whole 12 months.
Basically all year. Yeah, you're playing year round almost.
And not everybody makes $1 million over there in Europe for women. So you know, it's a lot different. It's a different grind.
Yeah, I could believe. Well, let's take a step back for a second. Your senior year at Rutgers, obviously you're one of the top players in the country. What were your expectations kind of going into that year, and what were your expectations when it came to playing in the WNBA? Did you kind of look at that as, you know what, I'm definitely going to be drafted, I'm definitely going to be playing in the WNBA next year?
I was really relaxed because I like I said, I was a Prop 48, and for me to get my last year back, I had to have a GPA of 3.0. And so I did that, and I gained my last year back. So that wasn't even really my right year.
Oh, that's crazy.
Of being in college. Yeah. So I only took a couple classes just to maintain. Okay. So I was pretty relaxed on the court. You know, I had the opportunity to really just focus in on my body, my mind, and my spirit, and just focus in on being drafted, I would say. Okay. So I came into that my senior year with the right mindset of just really just super focused, and just knowing that it's a possibility that I can get drafted 1 or 2 in a draft.
No, that's unbelievable. So the draft itself, I don't remember what it was that year. Was it held in one particular location, or were you just kind of at home? What happened with the draft that year?
The draft was held in Boston. In Boston. Okay. Boston College, I believe. Okay. They had the women's All-American game, and then they had the draft. Okay. So you were up there for the draft. Yeah. Okay. So you're sitting there, and they're the draft just started. You must have butterflies in your stomach. Absolutely. It's one of the most nerve-wracking times of your life. Knowing what number you're gonna get called at, trying to figure it out, because everybody was saying throughout the whole year between me and Simone Augustus, who was going number 1 and who was going number 2. Okay. And so I figured I was going number 2 because it was actually it was her right draft class. Okay. And I was like, she's going to go number 1. I'll just go number 2, which is going to even out. Still makes sense because I end up playing with the GOAT. So yeah,
you did play with somebody that's pretty good. And as far as I know, she's still playing, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's still going.
Unbelievable. I'm beginning to think she's just going to end up playing forever. She's the Tom Brady of basketball. She's going to be like 80 years old and still on the court. But that's exciting. So do you get a call ahead of time that you're being drafted, or do they just announce your name?
They just announced our name at the time. I'm sure it's a lot more advanced now than it was in 2006. Right. So they announced your name with the number 2 pick in the draft, and so you're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So you go up on stage, I'm assuming, and just what are you thinking? What's the first thing that's coming to your head? You're where you're going to be playing. What are you thinking right now? What is it like, that moment? That moment, my family is around me, so I'm very thankful in that moment. Yeah. I'm going up, grabbing the jersey, and I'm like, Phoenix. I've never been to Phoenix before. This is amazing. Yeah. Like, I'm number 2 overall, and yeah, I'm just super excited. I'm excited for the next opportunity. My dreams are finally right in front of me. I got the WNBA tattoo on me when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
And it's finally here. So I feel like I really accomplished my dream.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to the WNBA. What's your goal once you get to the WNBA? What are you looking to accomplish in your career?
At the moment, I was just in a whirlwind. I wasn't really thinking about anything at the moment, honestly. But obviously winning has always been a part of my pedigree. So
Yep.
You know, that never lost out of my mind. That was never lost out of my mind. It was just I was really in the moment of things.
Okay.
Because after I got drafted, they flew me to Phoenix to do press conference.
Okay.
Press conference. So I never had the opportunity to even say bye to my family.
Oh, jeez.
Fully, like we didn't get to go to dinner. We didn't even get to celebrate. It was just like, all right, I got to go to work.
Wow.
And,
so you alluded to it before that you get drafted and you're thinking about, Taurasi's on the team, right? She had just been drafted prior to that. And you probably had some wars with them, right? Just the previous couple of years, right? You guys crossed paths, Rutgers and UConn there, right? With her?
Yeah, but me and Taurasi were always great friends through USA Basketball. So
Right.
So you guys were friends. So that's got to be exciting to know. That's like, I mean, I know she played a little bit of forward guard, right? But you're basically the backcourt, right? For thinking about the next bunch of years in Phoenix there together.
Yeah, the next 4 years, we played 4 years together, won 2 championships.
That's amazing. That's
unbelievable. So you come right into the WNBA and you get flown out there right away. And then I guess, what do you do? I guess you meet the team, you go to they have a practice pretty soon after that. I mean, what's the time frame there?
I didn't meet the team. I met the staff.
Okay.
I met all the people behind the scenes.
Okay.
And a lot of the media, because that was in April. So I had to go back and graduate. I had graduated. After graduation, I came back to Phoenix, and then that's when practices started, and that's when I met like the staff, the players and the coaching staff.
Okay. Did you ever have one of those moments? I mean, where you were just kind of like in awe, like one of those like, oh my God moments, where you're either in the locker room or you step on the court for the first time and you're like, oh my God, I'm really here.
Probably when I saw Steve Nash in the weight room.
Was there a lot of interactions between your team and the Suns?
Yeah, we would see each other because they would come out of practice. Our practice schedule was always crossed. Like when they're getting out of practice, we would start practice or vice versa.
Okay.
So we would always see those guys are like shooting around and getting ready for their game on the road or their game at home. And we could just sit there and watch their practice.
That's wild. So your first year, you come in, obviously the expectations are high. I mean, you were the number 2 pick in the draft and you make the All-Star team your first year.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. You're a rookie, you're playing in the All-Star game with all of the great WNBA players of the time. I mean, that has got to be one of the most surreal moments ever, because I'm sure that you followed the WNBA and I'm sure that you knew of all these players and who they were, and to have them all playing either with you or against you on the same court must have been just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience, but I have to credit Paul Westhead, man. It was his system that got me there, that allowed me to play my game from the very beginning. He freed me up. He just said, go and do your thing, Cap. And from that moment, playing in that system, it just allowed me to flourish from the very beginning and allowed me to be the all-star that I was capable of being.
Nice.
So, I mean, your career, I mean, it's just incredible and so many highs and so much success. Was there a point where you hit a roadblock in your career? Was there a point where like something didn't go well and you had to like battle through that adversity, or was it smooth sailing and you really kind of just stepped in each time and just kind of ascended? I always find it fascinating when there's that one moment where it's like, wow, something didn't go for the first time in a long time after a lot of success.
I would say towards the end of my career when I chose to retire. Things weren't going right. Like teams were not looking to pick me up. I went from being waived in Los Angeles to being picked up by Indiana, which is the worst team in WNBA during the season, during my last season, and then not being picked up. So that was some adversity I had to go through. It was a waiting period for me, but I wasn't willing to wait, so I decided to retire.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So going back, so we got All-Star in your rookie year. You've got was it Finals MVP in the second year? So not only did you win the WNBA championship, but you were also the Finals MVP. I mean, who would have thought that in your second year of pro basketball, you win the championship and you're the best player on that team during the finals? I mean, that must have been like, oh my God, what is going on here? I mean, to be experiencing that kind of success that early in your professional career must have just been, take us back to when you won that championship, and then when you were named MVP and you're holding the MVP trophy.
I mean, I think about it now. It's all incredible. Because like, when you kind of going through the motions of winning, you don't really think about all of these wonderful things that you've accomplished or getting ready to accomplish. It's all about winning. It's all about team camaraderie. It's all about the organization. It's all about the jersey that's on your back.
Yep.
And for me, I just wanted to win for Phoenix, the city.
Yep.
And it feels great. It feels great knowing that I was able to do that and accomplish and win for myself as well.
No, that's great. So you're there for 4 years, like you said. You won 2 championships, and then what happens? You get traded to New York.
Yeah, I asked to be traded to New York to pursue fashion off the court.
Okay.
And I started an image consulting company called 4 Seasons Style Management. And wonderful time. I had, like a lot of people thought that I didn't want to be under Diana Taurasi's shadow, but that wasn't the case at all. It was more so about off the court ventures than anything. And New York at the time needed a franchise player. And I thought, what better place for me to go to do fashion and play basketball? But, I just thought New York was the most incredible place for me to go.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of success under Ann Donovan, rest in peace her soul. She was an incredible coach my first year. I accomplished some incredible things my first year with the team that we had. And I think if she was still the coach, it was possible we could have won a championship. I really feel that way.
Yeah.
So as a Rutgers, playing at Rutgers, you're familiar with New York. If you hadn't been before that, you probably are somewhat familiar, right? I mean, you were playing right there in Jersey. What was it like to navigate New York City, trying to, do the fashion thing, playing ball, being the best player, right? The team, like the cornerstone piece they traded for, that had to be exciting. Tell us a little bit about your time in New York, just in terms of off the court and what that was all like.
It was great. I met so many cool people in New York. And then obviously like having that fan base in New Jersey already from Rutgers, it allowed a lot of those fans coming to New York to come to the game. Mm-hmm. And the New York fans, they're some diehard fans.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my biggest fan bases aside from Phoenix, is my New York fans. And they're so diehard. I gave everything I possibly could to that city for 5 years. And it was an incredible time that we had. And I had the opportunity, like I said, to meet so many incredible people off the court just because of my fashion ventures.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, so we always notice so I'm a Knicks fan. I've been a Knicks fan my whole life. So you always see Spike Lee at the game and stuff. Who's like the coolest person you had a chance to meet, either in the Garden or just kind of, just through the years that you were there?
Obviously Spike Lee, he's just a diehard fan, but I would say Kerry Washington.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. That's fun.
I don't know.
The Knicks weren't
Phil,
totally horrible.
Phil, I don't know if you know who that is, but she was on one of my favorite shows, Scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's excellent actor. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. I was thinking about it. I was like, and the Knicks weren't totally horrible while you were there, but they've become just horrible ever since. They're finally getting decent again. But what did you enjoy the men's game? Like, how did you, like, obviously have all these great experiences with Phoenix, getting to, actually interact with that team. And then I'm sure same thing in New York, but were you a fan of the NBA? How did you, what were your thoughts at the NBA watching that? Did you get a chance to play with any of those players while you were there?
Well, I got the opportunity to work out with a lot of the players individually. So I kind of built my own relationships with them individually. But I had the opportunity to watch the NBA quite a bit. I love watching their games when I wasn't over in Europe. But the thing is because we would go to Europe so much, we would miss a lot of the games. But whenever I would come back on a holiday, I would make sure that I would stop by and come to a game.
That's cool.
That is exciting. One thing that we forgot to touch on that I really, really wanted to talk about was your Olympic experience.
Oh yeah.
Because and you look at the team you played with first off, and it's like the who's who of the greatest WNBA players of all time. I mean, it's unbelievable. And if that team did not win a gold medal, I think everybody would have been shocked. Was there pressure on that team, saying, hey, you know what, we're so good that we have to win a gold medal here?
I wouldn't say it was pressure because like I said, they build us up from when we were young to that age to just know that we have to win a gold medal. There's nothing else besides but winning a gold medal. And I mean, obviously you could put the pressure on yourself individually, but as a team collectively, our mission was to always bring the gold medal home. And with that squad that we had, we knew that if we just worked as a team, as a unit, that nobody could beat us. And that's what we did every single day when we were in practice and when we were in the games. We just played as a unit.
Yeah.
What was the craziest thing you saw in China, in Beijing, while you were there? What's that experience like? Oh,
going up to the Great Wall.
Okay.
And they would be selling these knockoff things.
Okay.
And one time the police came, and then all of a sudden everybody just started scramming out of there. It was crazy. It was what? Where did everybody go? But it was because they were selling illegal stuff.
Yeah.
That was probably the most craziest thing that I've seen in China.
Oh, that's great. And you got to go on the Great Wall, which is funny because I was I have two daughters. They're 13 and 15, and they're learning about Europe. Actually, each of them. It's kind of strange. And I try to explain to them that the Great Wall is 5,000 miles long. It's 10 feet high, and it took like 2,000 years to build. And they're just wait a second, that doesn't even make any sense. It's generation after generation would just be building a wall. It's what are you going to do for the rest of your life? I'm going to be building a wall. So the fact that you got to experience that and think about that, and you got to go to all these places where, we think about here in America. I mean, the country's 250 years old. I mean, over there, you're talking about thousands of years of history. So, just when you travel, just the sightseeing impact and being able to see all these things. I mean, was there anything during your travels that just amazed you? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah, the Ottoman in Istanbul.
Yeah.
The castle is so huge, and it's still some remains left, and people still live up there and still working there. Just to see some of the things like Cyprus, the fact that it's not even all the way built yet. It's just so many crazy things. Australia, I got to see the F1 the F1 race, you know, like it was right in front of my apartment that they built the race tracks. It was just so many amazing things that I got to see. Like in Russia, I got to go to the North Pole, you know, because it was like a 15-minute drive.
Wow.
To go to the North Pole. Like it was just.
That's crazy.
The Red Square in Moscow, St. Petersburg. You know, I was able to accomplish so much and see so many different sites that I took none of it for granted, and I made sure that I respected everybody's culture, and I made sure that I experienced everybody's culture.
Yeah, what an unbelievable impact. You know, being able to see how other people live, because I think as Americans, I think we take a lot of things for granted, and you know, you just have certain expectations, and over there, it's just completely different. It's completely different, you know. And you being in Turkey, and what are the fans like in Turkey and in Russia? I mean, is basketball really big over there also?
Basketball is huge in Turkey.
Is it?
Yeah, and Russia as well, but the fan base is different. They're intense in Turkey. They're probably the most intense fans that I've ever come across my whole entire career.
Wow.
Yeah, when you guys get a chance, look up Istanbul fans.
Okay.
Or Turkish fans.
They're pretty crazy. Okay. All right. I look forward to checking that out. So you had a lot of success in Turkey. You must have loved playing there.
I did. I enjoy it. It's one of my favorite places to ever play and live.
Yeah. Now, so when you were living there, did you pick up any of the language?
Yeah, I did quite a bit.
How is it navigating? Like, you know, obviously you think about it, right? You're there for business, right? It's a business. You're making money. That's why you're there. But navigating that lifestyle and just the culture, ingratiating yourself in that. I've heard so many different things where some people like live in their apartment and like they never kind of absorb the culture and they just kind of play basketball, go home, play basketball, go home. It sounds like you explored everything and enjoyed your time there. So what mentality do you have to embrace that? And what did you most enjoy about your time in Turkey?
I think you just gotta love history, you gotta love culture, you gotta love people. Yeah. You gotta understand like the moment that you're in, I think. Because I would tell a lot of the young people that all the time that like you never know what you can get or meet the people that you can meet from just going outside and just going to different events and really getting and being a part of the culture that you're a part of right now. And I still have friends to this day that if I go to those different countries, I can meet up and network with them.
Oh, that's nice.
And still talk to them to this day, you know? So I still have relationships that I've built just because I wasn't afraid to learn about their culture.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible that you've been able to maintain those relationships. That's great. So, you know, so basically, I want to say 2006 to 2017, you were basically playing basketball the whole year round, which is incredible. Did you ever get worn out, or did you ever have some maybe nagging injuries, anything like that?
I had a little nagging injury where I had Achilles tendonitis, but nothing major. I never had any major surgeries. I had a torn retina. That was really it. Other than that, I took care of my body really well.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is you played basically, 11, 12 years all year round, and somehow you never even got injured.
Nope.
I mean, the way that people get injured nowadays, that is unbelievable. Absolutely.
That's superhero status right there. Like you're like an Avenger underneath. We're gonna have to check that out.
Right.
I invested a lot in my body, man. I was on some Kobe stuff, honestly.
Okay. So that's how you did it. So
awesome.
you finally make the decision to retire. Okay. And that must have been an unbelievably difficult decision. I mean, you've been playing this high level basketball for, you know, over 20 years, and you decide that you're going to retire. How difficult of a decision was that?
At first, it was difficult because I wasn't understanding the situation that was happening with teams not wanting me anymore. or I just wasn't patient enough with myself. But you know, at the same time, I was ready to give up the game.
Okay.
I was ready to walk away.
Okay.
I was tired mentally. I thought it was just time for me to just kind of give the game away, and I'm still happy with my decision.
Okay. Okay. So knowing that basketball was such an enormous part of your, I mean, it was basically like almost, I mean, you're playing all the time. So it's such a huge part of your life. You retire. What do you do then? What's the next step in your life?
Oh, well, I've been enjoying myself for the last 5 years. Just kind of kick back and relaxing, trying to see what I was going to do next. And I've discovered some things. Thought about going back to school for film writing, for film school.
Oh, wow.
But I've been doing a lot of script writing as of lately.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Do you have like a favorite like genre? Like what do you like to write about?
I love love stories.
Okay.
But I love drama.
Okay.
Real life events.
Okay.
I've only written 4 scripts so far.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
That's incredible.
I
feel like all of a sudden I had this visualization of like a Cappie Pondexter, like when you see those holiday romance movies coming on like the Hallmark Channel.
Oh, little Christmas romance movie. There you go.
I'm gonna see the thing flash across and be like, all right, that's big. That's awesome though. That's great.
Well, that's exciting. That sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like a lot of fun to do, and I wish you luck on that. Whatever you're hoping to achieve. The one thing that I know about you is that you're going to give it 110%, which means that no matter what you do, you're going to be successful. So I love that about you. I love that about you, Phil. How about a couple? How about we do a little quick round of some quick questions here?
Yeah. So Cappie, we thought we'd end it with just like some rapid fire questions. First thing that comes to your mind. Just quick questions. I got like 5 or 6 quick ones for you.
Okay.
Who was your favorite teammate you ever played with?
Diana Taurasi.
Favorite place to play?
Istanbul, Turkey.
Least favorite
Seattle. I'm gonna say Seattle.
Nice.
All right. Least favorite place to play? Place you hated?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Person you hated guarding?
Ooh, Tamika Catchings.
All right, that's a good one. The team that you hated to play? The team that gave you fits that you just hated, but you knew it was gonna be a grind.
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh, guys, you got me on this. So I would say Indiana Fever.
Okay. What's like just like a funny laugh out loud moment you had during your career? Just one that sticks with you. I'm sure there's a million. One quick one you got.
I pulled Diana Taurasi gym shorts down at the end of the game.
Oh man. And then we'll close it with this. You've been all over the world. I mean, sports has afforded you incredible luxury to visit so many cool places, whether it was during your career or post-career or just an informal trip you took. What's your favorite place in the world to visit?
I would say Australia, Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
Well, we walked kind of our audience through your early stage all the way through your incredible career at Rutgers, your incredible WNBA career, Olympic experience, and then through all your international play. And it's been an absolute pleasure hearing about it. You sound like it sounds like it's been an incredible journey, and basketball has afforded so many great things. So it's awesome to hear about it.
Yeah, and I have one last question for you also, and that is, when you look back and you think about your career, how would you describe your basketball career?
I think it was incredible. I did some very impeccable things on the court that a lot of people can't say that they've ever experienced. So I just thank God for the experience. I thank God for the ability to not get hurt through it all, and I thank God just for the mental, physical, and emotional ability to be able to compete at such a high level for a long period of time.
Okay, and then my very last question, because it just came to my head: when are you getting elected into the Hall of Fame?
That's a great question, man.
When are you getting elected into the Hall of Fame? When is that coming?
I think soon. They changed the rules, so it's not 5 years; it's 3 years after retirement. So I think soon.
So
That's awesome.
and I mean, to go down as one of the greatest ever, and naturally, and after talking to you, I'm even more convinced that you're one of the greatest ever. So, I will be looking forward to that. And when that happens, I hope that Phil and I are able to make the trip up there, and we will be the ones cheering the loudest for you. And
Thank you, guys.
yeah, thank you so much for coming on. We've really enjoyed talking to you, and appreciate you opening up and kind of sharing your life with us. I think it's been fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And keep us abreast of what's going on with you. And maybe we'll do this again sometime. And maybe next time you can talk about one of the scripts that's going into production.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Cappie.
So
we
thank you,
appreciate
Cappie.
your time.
Really appreciate everything. And take care of yourself. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Rock and roll, bro.
So Phil, Cappie Pondexter, man, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, incredible. Every story is different. What I took most out of that story is just sustained success for such a prolonged period of time, right?
Yeah.
Very few hiccups, really almost like just an ascension from young early childhood basketball through college, through pro, through international play. I mean, really just nothing but success. And avoided injury, which is incredible. And the other thing I take away from it is such a good attitude, embraced all these different places she was at. Just had fun with it, learning the cultures of all these different countries, but really just used it as a tool to not only, make a good living for a long period of time doing the things she loves, but getting so many additional experiences out of it. I mean, really phenomenal. And I knew her career to some extent, but after hearing about it, you can't do nothing but cheer her on. And the final icing on the cake will be the Hall of Fame induction one day. So super cool story.
Yeah, and I just think that she sets such a good example as far as somebody that works really hard. And I like the fact that she never took anything for granted. She was never, she's very down to earth. I mean, she could sit there and say, oh yeah, I'm the greatest ever. I'm so great. But she's not like that. She's like, hey, I went to this place. I enjoyed learning about the culture. I learned the language. I enjoyed the fan. So she embraced the opportunities that she had. She worked hard to get those opportunities. And then she really enjoyed them and really lived in that moment. And now that she looks back, and she says, wow, you know what? I really had a tremendous career. And I did so many great things that a lot of people aren't afforded to. And she even said she's a very religious person. She's like, I thank God for giving me this ability. But at the end of the day, she worked really hard for what she did. And she became probably everything that she wanted and achieved all of her dreams. And there's no doubt in my mind that she is going to make the Hall of Fame. And that should probably put a kind of the cherry on top of just an unbelievable career. And if she does get inducted, when she does get inducted, I think you and I should really look into taking a trip up there and seeing her, because
we'll do it with all that podcast money we're rocking. So no worries.
So I hope that everybody enjoyed this interview. I know that I have, and it's been really fun and exciting. And keep listening, and hopefully we got a lot more surprises up our sleeves as the future rolls around. So thanks everybody. Be well, and talk to everybody soon.
Take care.